of the whole House may at any time move a motion to extend the Speaker's time sufficient for them to complete the presentation if the individual fails to complete within the slated time. The sectoral debate gives members the opportunity to inform the House about the government's proposed programs and projects within the different sectors. It should be noted that the agenda can be adjusted with items being added, removed, or replaced. If you are planning to attend a parliamentary session, here are some rules to keep in mind. No visitor shall create any act of disorder within the precincts of the House. No visitor shall be admitted to the House without first obtaining an admission card from the office of the clerk. Visitors who remain within the precincts of the House during a suspension of the session are asked to keep silent. It's almost time to go to the main event, but before that, let's get the answer to the trivia question. We asked, true or false? The Jamaican Parliament first met on balls. The truth is, the Jamaican Parliament has its history in the House of Assembly that first met on January 20, 1664 in Spanish Town, then called St. Diego de la Vega. At that time, Spanish Town was the capital of Jamaica and the seat of the government. However, since 1960, the official meeting place of the government has been George William Gordon House, more popularly called Gordon House, located on Duke Street in downtown Kingston. Gordon House is named in honor of one of Jamaica's national heroes. Now over to the proceedings.
Yo, babes, why me I call you so much time and I nah get you? Sorry me lick you again yesterday. Yo, me know me mess up, but I can't wear them something there road and I expect me to react. I know me jealous and fool and easy to lose my temper, but call me back here. Still nah get tired. Hey, girl, think me have to call your phone? You know who you deal with? You think I want to lick me again next time? Eh?
It doesn't have to be this way. You can leave an abusive relationship. Just call 876-553-0372. We will help you.
I wonder who that somebody be. No, sir. Let me look for my glasses. Oh, that somebody look like right, sir.
It's Lottie, walk on.
Me glad for see you, right? Although things never go on for you, America, me glad say you there.
Yes.
Lift your head high.
Yes.
Stay out of trouble.
Yes.
And you can have a fresh start back home.
All right, Mr. V. Thanks, you hear?
Let's all work together for a fresh start back home.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister. Jamaica is changing right before our very eyes. Across the island, billions are being invested into our road networks, from farm and community roads to major roads and highways. Dozens of communities across the length and breadth of Jamaica are receiving access to reliable potable water for the very first time. And thousands of Jamaicans have become homeowners thanks to the historic shifts in policies of the National Housing Trust, making it easier for Jamaicans to receive funding. Not to mention the record number of houses being built. Never dreamed you would own a home? No matter your circumstance, home ownership is possible for you, thanks to the government's new social housing program specially designed to meet the needs of poor Jamaicans at no cost to them. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Motorists, certificates of fitness are now digital. Here's how it works. First, make your payment at TAJ inline or online. Then, take your receipt along with your vehicle to an Island Traffic Authority service hub for physical inspection. A valid email address is required to receive your digital fitness. Once the inspection is complete, your certificate number will be sent directly to your email. To access your digital certificate, visit cgds.gov.jm/fitness, enter your certificate number and the chassis number, and view your certificate online. New validity periods are here. New vehicles, 5 years. Vehicles 10 years or less, 3 years. And those older than 10, 1 year. No more paper certificates, just secure, digital access, anytime, anywhere. For more information, connect with us via email at info@ita.gov.jm or on social media at Island Traffic Authority.
Most Jamaicans will tell you corruption in politics is deep-rooted, and I just saw it said, and nothing can do about that. But actually, there is, and another 152 countries are doing it. It's called asset declaration, and it works best where citizens themselves understand it and help to ensure the law is enforced. Corruption happens when public officials abuse their power to benefit themselves, family, or associates. Jamaica's Integrity Commission Act was designed to prevent corruption, and here are 5 things you should know. 1. Under this law, every year MPs and senators must report what they earn, own, and owe, and if they don't, they'll be sanctioned. 2. Their report must include the same kind of information for their wife or husband and children. 3. If they get a gift worth more than $100,000 from anyone who's not family, they must declare it. 4. A summary of the declarations of our Prime Minister and opposition leader must be published where the public can read it. 5. Parliamentarians can now be prosecuted by the Integrity Commission. They can be fined up to $2 million or serve up to 2 years in prison if they don't file their declaration or if they give false information, and $500,000 for not filing on time or ignoring requests for information. Unfortunately, our parliamentarians made changes that prevent the public from knowing when they've broken the law or when they're being investigated. We really need to change that. Visit jampja.org to find out more about the Act and to track if your MP is obeying this law. If they're not, JAMP's MP Tracker will help you write, tweet, or call your MP. Ask them, you submit your declaration yet? The Integrity Commission clear you? Let's help the Parliament stay honest. A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union and the Inter-American Development Bank in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
Today, we can report 2 consecutive years of reduction in major crimes and murders, with a significant reduction of almost 20% in murders for 2024.
Between January 2022 and January 2025, we have reduced murders by 51%, and January 2025 had the lowest monthly murder count since September 2014.
Our efforts have also resulted in the reduction of active gangs by 50%. We continue to increase firearm seizures, and in more communities, we are experiencing less violence. We will realize our vision of Jamaica as the place of choice to live, work, do business, raise families, and retire in peace and prosperity.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Peace begins with us. Every act of kindness, every step towards understanding brings us closer to a brighter tomorrow. Let's choose unity, compassion, and hope. Together, we can build a future where peace reigns.
Brighter tomorrow starting today.
When the storm rages and the world feels shaken, remember, our strength lies in unity. It's in coming together, sharing hope, and standing shoulder to shoulder that we find resilience. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement builds a brighter tomorrow. We are stronger as one. Our courage, compassion, and hope will light the way forward. Together we rise. Together we rebuild, because hope is never lost when we stand united, because we are stronger together.
Every year, the Jamaican Parliament approves billions of our taxes to be spent on goods and services provided by the private sector. Everything from pens to power plants, cleaning services to construction are obtained through a process called public procurement. But who funds this process? Citizens do. And we want our taxes to be spent wisely. When we talk about public procurement, there's a critical concept called value for money. We hear it in the Parliament all the time, but what does it really mean? Some think value for money means choosing the cheapest option, but it's more than that. For example, a community needs a new bridge, and the government receives bids from 3 companies. Company A offers to build it for $10 million in 18 months with a 50-year lifespan. Company B wants $12 million to finish in 12 months with a 75-year lifespan. Company C asks for $8 million, needs 24 months with a 25-year lifespan. Company B actually offers the best value for money. To determine that, we look for 4 crucial factors: economy, efficiency, effectiveness, and equity. Let's explore what each means. For economy, we must look beyond the upfront price and consider the full lifetime costs to maintain the bridge. Cheaper options could lead to frequent and expensive repairs. We get efficiency if the bridge is built within budget and on time, with no waste of materials. To achieve this, we need the best team, and clear criteria helps the government to pick the best proposal. Effectiveness looks at whether the government achieves its goal. This could require a community needs assessment to ensure the bridge will reduce transport costs and travel time, withstand the annual flooding with little disturbance to plant and animal life. Finally, equity. This is about fairness, satisfying the different needs of the community. The bridge design considers not just cars and pedestrians, but is sensitive to the needs of the elderly, the disabled community, and children. So when we're talking about value for money, don't just ask how much it did cost. Ask, what are we truly getting for our money? The cheapest option today can become the most expensive mistake tomorrow. So from now on, let's ask the right questions for Jamaica land we love, Jamaica land we own, and Jamaica land we run well.
Hi everyone, here are 5 benefits of being a beneficiary of the Students' Loan Bureau. 1. Benefit from our 99% approval rate. 2. Benefit from our low interest rate, so less burden when you need to repay. 3. Benefit from the fact that we require no collateral when applying. 4. We're giving you more time to focus on your studies while we focus on the financing. No need to worry about repaying while in school. Number 5. Receive a 14 months grace period after your graduation date before you enter repayment. Don't forget to follow us on all SLB platforms for more SLB info.
When the storm rages and the world feels shaken, remember, our strength lies in unity. It's in coming together, sharing hope, and standing shoulder to shoulder that we find resilience. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement builds a brighter tomorrow. We are stronger as one. Our courage, compassion, and hope will light the way forward. Together we rise. Together we rebuild, because hope is never lost when we stand united, because we are stronger together.
Hey, I'm Abijah, the Roots Man. Today, I want to talk to you about something powerful. Peace. Peace isn't just the absence of conflict. It's about kindness, understanding, and respect. It starts with us. Every choice we make can build bridges or burn them. Let's choose peace in our words, our action, and our hearts. Peace begins with you. Together, we can create a brighter and safer future for everyone. Join me. Let's be that change we want to see.
Peace is a choice we make every day. When we come together with love and understanding, we create a future free of violence and fear. Let's stand united, build bridges, and nurture hope for our children and our communities.
Remember that big project the government announced them was going to from when? You ever catch yourself a wonder what happened to it? Stop wonder like an outsider and start move like the country belong to you. You have a right to publicly owned information, and the Access to Information Act gives you that power. I know you have enough questions about how government are run or not run, so let me show you how it works. Say mosquito spraying going on in your community, your children asthmatic and you want to know what chemicals are in it. Or what about that Auditor General report on a public official getting twice his salary with no proper approval? Is your taxes and you want to know if they paid it back? First, do some basic searching to see what is already on government websites. If you don't see what you're looking for, make a formal ATI request by completing the application form on the ATI site or sending a letter or email. And remember, you don't have to say why you need it. It is your right to know. Make sure you send your request to the right agency, and once they confirm receipt, they get 30 calendar days to provide the information, a maximum of 60 if extra time is needed. Yes, I know you want access to everything, but sensitive documents are protected from the public for up to 20 years. For example, documents that would expose a citizen's personal privacy, or those dealing with cabinet discussions, the Governor General's office, or information on the investigative activities of the security forces. Any public officer who tries to destroy or hide any official document can be sanctioned. And if you're having difficulties, the ATI unit will help. So, what if the chemicals in the mosquito spray are toxic? What if the agency did not even try to get back the money they paid out? Call or email your MP. Share the concern, because as your elected representative, they can represent your questions to the government ministers in the House. Remember, it is the job of parliamentarians to monitor and hold the government to account on your behalf. Is not every country gives citizens this kind of power, you know? And at 20 years we have this law, and we barely use it. So access information and mind your business, Jamaica. Visit jampja.org today to see what information we access to make it easier for you to hold the government to account. Let's do our job to make Jamaica land we love, Jamaica land we own, and Jamaica land we run well. A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
Na, 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 na. We want a piece for Jamaica. Yeah, yeah. We have to be our brother's keeper. Yeah, yeah. Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life. What we feel safe at night. Jamaica live good. I better you and I. No say we future bright. Jamaica live good. Come together as one. I make the violence the world.
Today, we can report 2 consecutive years of reduction in major crimes and murders, with a significant reduction of almost 20% in murders for 2024.
Between January 2022 and January 2025, we have reduced murders by 51%. And January 2025 had the lowest monthly murder count since September 2014.
Our efforts have also resulted in the reduction of active gangs by 50%. We continue to increase firearm seizures and in more communities, we are experiencing less violence. We will realize our vision of Jamaica as the place of choice to live, work, do business, raise families, and retire in peace and prosperity.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Motorists, certificates of fitness are now digital. Here's how it works. First, make your payment at TAJ inline or online. Then, take your receipt along with your vehicle to an Island Traffic Authority service hub for physical inspection. A valid email address is required to receive your digital fitness. Once the inspection is complete, your certificate number will be sent directly to your email. To access your digital certificate, visit cgds.gov.jm/fitness, enter your certificate number and the chassis number, and view your certificate online. New validity periods are here. New vehicles, 5 years. Vehicles 10 years or less, 3 years. And those older than 10, 1 year. No more paper certificates, just secure, digital access, anytime, anywhere. For more information, connect with us via email at info@ita.gov.jm or on social media at Island Traffic Authority.
Me, I go show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of we. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
People always say government must be held accountable. But is whose job to keep government accountable, and what that really mean? Well, you see, when ministers and public officials have to provide answers for decisions made and can face consequences for those actions and decisions, that means they're being held accountable. Keeping government accountable is a key responsibility of our elected representatives, and the Parliament provides special tools or mechanisms just for this. As citizens, we need to understand how they work so we can play our part to ensure that the members of Parliament we elect are using the tools and doing their job well. Here are 4 of the primary tools you should understand and talk to your MP about. Tool number 1, Minister Statements. To effectively monitor the government, MPs need to stay informed. Every Tuesday when Parliament sits, different cabinet ministers are scheduled to give an update on decisions they're making on our behalf. These updates are called Statements by Ministers. They cover a wide range of national issues that other MPs, media, and citizens may have questions about and wish to examine further. That brings us to tool number 2. What you do when you want information? You ask questions, and that's why we have Question Time. Both opposition and government MPs can submit questions to the Prime Minister or Cabinet Ministers for details on, for example, how a contract was awarded or expenditure to purchase tablets for schools. So if you ever have a question for a government minister, try asking through your MP. After all, that's why they're your political representatives. They should represent your questions and concerns to the government. Tool number 3, Parliamentary Debates. When cabinet ministers present the government's proposals for new policies, laws, and programs, parliamentary debates allow both opposition and government MPs to air concerns, make suggestions, and endorse proposals. If you ever watch those debates, you know they can get a little fiery. But the debate is important as it informs decisions and continues until a vote is taken on the way forward. Then we have tool number 4, Parliamentary Committees. The general sittings of Parliament are not always sufficient for detailed examination of government work, so oversight committees are formed using government and opposition members to do just that. Some committees like the PAC and the PAAC are in place for an entire parliamentary term. Their job is to monitor the use of public funds to find ways to increase value and efficiency while reducing waste and corruption. Cabinet and state ministers are not appointed to oversight committees since they are a part of the government. Some committees are formed when a need arises. For example, joint select committees are formed to review draft policies or legislation or to probe other matters of serious national importance. Members of these committees are both opposition and government MPs and senators, and these committees will usually invite citizens to share their opinions, concerns, and recommendations. So there you have it, 4 accountability tools of Parliament that are used to make sure government run right. Visit jampja.org to find contact information for your MP. Invite them to meet with the community so they can better represent your issues and concerns in Parliament and keep government accountable. Get involved and let's make Jamaica land we love, Jamaica land we own, and Jamaica land we run well. A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union and the Inter-American Development Bank in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
Motorists, as Minister of Justice, I appeal to you, obey the road code, pay your ticket on time, and only go to court if the ticket is being contested. Close to 80% of matters coming to the parish courts are for traffic breaches. Let's work together to make our roads safe and ease the burden on our courts.
Embark on a journey to discover the truth that sets us free. Join us on Tomorrow's World, your weekly source of hope, answers, and divine insight at 9 a.m. with rebroadcasts on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:30 a.m. Tune in right here on PBCJ, the People's Station, and be inspired.
Overtake and bring back everything.
Bask in the awesome Word of God and the life-changing experience of fellowship. Bask in the revival time, 8 a.m. on Sundays, right here on the People's Station.
What can a little germs do?
Pink eye running belly, even flu. Germs can make them happen to you.
Put germs on our manners with these. Cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. Always wash your hand with water and soap. Keep dirty hands from your eyes and your nose and your mouth. You don't want to be sick, take care. Practice every day, no germs around here.
A message from the Ministry of Health. What is the role of a backbencher in government? I'm glad you asked. They're members of Parliament who are not appointed to cabinet. So they sit in the back of the legislature and they apply pressure. They examine what government legislates, participate in Parliament debates, raise issues and advocate and question chamber when things don't look straight. Backbenchers represent the constituents in Parliament. Backbenchers oversee the interests of citizens, you and me. But how can they be agents of government accountability after them no hold a portfolio? And them and a minister? No. So then how can they facilitate government transparency? And the next thing, them and a front bencher. So how them affect me? You see, a lot of work is in committees. So these portfolio-free MPs with less dire responsibilities are more accessible to you and me. So they help with policy, but it helps if we engage them, you see. So they're not just in the back benches, but on the ground, in the trenches. Though in the back of Parliament, we're at the front of their cause. So pause. Find your backbencher at jampja.org.
Breathe in the breath of life. Saturdays and Sundays at 7:30 a.m., Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5:30 a.m. on PBCJ, the People's Station.
Hey, I'm Abijah, the Rootsman. Today, I want to talk to you about something powerful. Peace. Peace isn't just the absence of conflict. It's about kindness, understanding, and respect. It starts with us. Every choice we make can build bridges or burn them. Let's choose peace in our words, our action, and our hearts. Peace begins with you. Together, we can create a brighter and safer future for everyone. Join me. Let's be that change we want to see.
Are
you an entrepreneur producing an excellent Jamaican product or service? Did you know you can earn hard currency and more significant returns by exporting? Contact the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce to help propel your business along the export lane.
Everything you can produce, the Jamaicans overseas want it. We're not going to get rich by just bringing down the debt. We're going to get rich by exporting a lot more. So grow exports, create job opportunities, drive economic growth through exports to make Jamaica a richer and much more prosperous country.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister. Jamaica is changing right before our very eyes. Across the island, billions are being invested into our road networks, from farm and community roads to major roads and highways. Dozens of communities across the length and breadth of Jamaica are receiving access to reliable potable water for the very first time. And thousands of Jamaicans have become homeowners thanks to the historic shifts in policies of the National Housing Trust, making it easier for Jamaicans to receive funding. Not to mention the record number of houses being built. Never dreamed you would own a home? No matter your circumstance, home ownership is possible for you, thanks to the government's new social housing program specially designed to meet the needs of poor Jamaicans at no cost to them. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
So who keeps our taxpayer money in check? Well, the PAC and PAAC help watch over the country's budget. And one might sound like it just have an extra A, but they're way different. Here's how. The PAAC and PAC are two committees that watch the money. The Public Accounts Committee reviews government projects after them close. They do a post-audit check to see what problems arose with the costs and call officials to explain decisions that cause budget mismanagement. And then they recommend corrective action, so the problem will happen from when, not happen again. But what about the money we are spending right now, the PAAC? That's how Public Administration and Appropriations Committee pretty much means how your money will protect as it happen, we check. While projects go on, things are fair accurate. As government spend the nation's budget, PAAC reviews it. They examine proposals and summon officials to find problems before them don't use it. So the PAC and PAAC are two parliamentary committees that watch over the country's wallet to protect the budget and keep it in check. And you can get involved. Just visit jampja.org.
What can a little germs do?
Pink eye running, belly even flu. Germs can make them happen to you.
Put germs on our manners with these. Cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. Always wash your hand with water and soap. Keep dirty hands from your eyes and your nose and your mouth. You don't want to be sick, take care. Practice every day, no germs round here. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Overtake and bring back everything.
Bask in the awesome Word of God and the life-changing experience of fellowship. Bask in the revival time, 8 a.m. on Sundays, right here on the People's Station.
Join your big sister Raquel as she reintroduces the cast of Vibrations and their educational adventures to the screen. See Ronson and the gang experience the world firsthand through interviews and interactions. Vibrations, where kids are taught about the world from someone they can relate to. Join us every Friday at 3:30 p.m. to hang out with your big sister Raquel and the kids of Vibrations. Right here on PBCJ, the People's Station.
In Jamaica, there needs to be one law for all. Every member of this society, regardless of profession, finances, or the area you live in.
I have some bad news.
The company didn't get the contract?
The money they paid us for it has gotten out.
Are you serious?
I'm afraid so, and I understand that there are going to be corruption charges.
Minister, please come with us, sir.
Breaking news. A senior politician and senior civil servant have been charged for corruption.
Thank God not all of them stay, sir.
Build integrity. One law for all.
A message from NIA.
Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. If you check out the servings, just do the maths. Not taking too much, finger below the facts. Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. Take note of the sodium, the sugars and the fats by percent or less in on the right track. You for zoom in on the nutrition facts. It there in the table on the side or the back. Vitamins, minerals and vitamin 2, 20% and more that good for you. You for zoom in, check the nutrition facts. You for zoom in, check the nutrition facts. You for zoom in, check the nutrition facts. Less sugar, less salt intake and less fat. You for zoom in.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Jamaica Moves, the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, the National Health Fund, and Japan.
How do bills become law in Jamaica? Laws are made to create order, to ensure our safety, and to protect our rights against abuses by other citizens, organizations, and even the government itself. A bill is a proposal for either a new law or for a change to an existing law. Jamaica's parliament is responsible for making our laws, and that responsibility is shared between two houses. There are 21 parliamentarians appointed from both political parties to the upper house, also known as the Senate. And there are 63 members of parliament that we, the people, elect to the lower house, also known as the House of Representatives. To pass a law, there is a minimum of 6 stages required in each house. The process can begin in the upper house by a senator or in the lower house by your member of parliament. And their proposals for a new bill can certainly start with you, the citizen. Now, since the process often begins in the House of Representatives, let's start there. 1. The first stage begins with the introduction by the minister responsible for the bill, followed by the first reading of the bill by the clerk to the houses. This clerk is more like the CEO, the Chief Executive Officer for the Parliament. An announcement of the bill is published in the Gazette. This is a public newsletter that the government uses to inform the citizens of what the Parliament is doing on your behalf. 2. The second reading begins with a summary of the bill by the minister. The main reasons for the bill are discussed both by the government and opposition members to determine if Jamaicans would really be better off with the new law or changes to an existing law. A vote is taken by the House to determine if the bill will move to the committee stage. Sometimes before going to that stage, the minister responsible for the bill can recommend the use of a joint select committee. It's called joint as its members are taken from both the upper and lower house. To benefit from greater consultation, the committee is empowered to invite the public to share their views of the bill in writing or in person, and does so through radio, TV, and newspaper adverts. This joint select committee submits its recommendations to the House of Representatives. The House debates this report, and a vote is taken to determine if the bill should go on to the committee stage, where it is examined by a committee of the whole House. Yes, that's the name. And that's what it is, a committee of all the members of Parliament that carefully examines each clause and makes improvements to ensure the bill will achieve its objectives. As chairman, the Speaker of the House monitors the process to make sure the rules of the House are obeyed and the process moves along smoothly. 4. The Committee of the whole House examines the bill clause by clause, then sends its recommendations for changes to the House of Representatives. This is called the report stage. 5. The bill then passes to the third reading to allow a final opportunity for MPs to make changes before it is sent to senators in the upper house. 6 to 10. In the upper house, the senators go through the same steps we just described. If any changes are made, the bill has to be returned to the House of Representatives for their discussion and approval. Now, if the bill had started in the upper house, it would also have to be returned to them for approval of any changes made by the lower house. 11. Throughout the entire process, the bill is being checked by the Legislative Council. That's the Parliament's lawyer. But before the last step, a copy is sent to the Attorney General of Jamaica for final review and certification. 12. If all is well, the bill is sent to receive the royal assent from the Governor General as the representative of the Queen, Elizabeth II. The bill is now an Act of Parliament. The Act is gazetted, and the rights of Jamaicans are further preserved and protected by a new law.
Peace begins with us. Every act of kindness, every step towards understanding brings us closer to a brighter tomorrow. Let's choose unity, compassion, and hope. Together, we can build a future where peace reigns.
Brighter tomorrow
starting today.
Motorists, certificates of fitness are now digital. Here's how it works. First, make your payment at TAJ inline or online. Then, take your receipt along with your vehicle to an Island Traffic Authority service hub for physical inspection. A valid email address is required to receive your digital fitness. Once the inspection is complete, your certificate number will be sent directly to your email. To access your digital certificate, visit cgds.gov.jm/fitness, enter your certificate number and the chassis number, and view your certificate online. New validity periods are here. New vehicles, 5 years. Vehicles 10 years or less, 3 years. And those older than 10, 1 year. No more paper certificates. Just secure, digital access, anytime, anywhere. For more information, connect with us via email at info@ita.gov.jm or on social media.
Almighty God, by whom alone kings reign and princes decree justice, and from whom alone cometh all counsel, wisdom, and understanding, we, thine unworthy servants, here gathered today in thy name, do most humbly beseech thee to send down thy heavenly wisdom from above, to direct and guide us in all our consultations, and grant that, we having thy fear always before our eyes, and laying aside all private interests, prejudices, and partial affections, the result of all our counsels may be to the glory of thy blessed name, the maintenance of true religion and justice, the safety, honor, and happiness of the king, the public weal, peace, and tranquility of the island, and the uniting and knitting together of the hearts of all persons and estates within the same, in true Christian love and charity one towards another, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. The man them just throw the something, come give me.
You may be seated. This Honorable House now resume its sitting. I wish to welcome all members to the sitting of the Honorable House of Representatives for today, Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026. Today, we continue with the sectorial debate, and we will have presentations from the Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament for St. James East Central, from the Member of Parliament of Portland East Central, that is the Minister of Tourism, East Central, Honorable Edmund Bartlett. the Member of Parliament for Portland Eastern, Mr. Isaac Buchanan, Member of Parliament for Westmoreland Western, Mr. Ian Hales. I see a long list of specially invited guests. That I would like to make welcome. Javier San Roman, Deputy Head of the Mission from the Spanish Embassy. Mr. George Matthews, Counselor for Political and Economic Affairs. And Delaney Story, Political Economic Intern from the U.S. Embassy. Mr. Victor Soto, Head of Economic and Commercial Affairs from the Dominican Republic's Embassy. Councillor Joan John, Jamaican Canadian member of the Southgate Municipal Council from Ontario, Canada. The Honorable Godfrey Dare, OJ, CDJP, Chairman of the Tourism Enhancement Fund, long-serving chairman he has been. I wish to also welcome the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Ms. Jennifer Griffith, who is here with us today, along with the team from the Ministry of Tourism. I wish to also welcome the constituents from the constituencies of St. James East Central, Westmoreland, Western and Portland Eastern, who are in the gallery today in support of their respective members of Parliament. I'm not seeing it on the list, but I can recognize a beautiful star sitting up in the gallery, none other than Carmen Bartlett. Mrs. Carmen Bartlett, it's a pleasure to see you. Wife and very, very strong, supportive wife of Minister Bartlett. Thanks for making it here. We appreciate when members of the public are able to witness these proceedings live. However, I must remind those in the gallery that you are not to disturb the proceedings in the chamber by clapping, knocking the ledge or chairs beside you, or conversing at a volume which may be heard in the chamber, thus disturbing the proceedings. These proceedings, as usual, are being broadcasted live by PBCJ, and we welcome those joining us via the various platforms as well as social media outlets to today's sitting. Call up the roll.
Mr. Clark. Here. Mr. Green. Here. Dr. Holness, Dr. Chang, Mrs. Williams, Mr. Bartlett, Ms. Grange, Dr. Tufton, Mr. Mackenzie, Mr. Montague, Mr. Vaz, Mr. Chuck, Mr. Charles Jr., Mr. Morgan, Ambassador Marks, Mr. Samuda, Dr. Wheatley, Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn, Mr. Terry Long, Mr. Witter, Mrs. Dalrymple Filbert, Ms. Morrison, Ms. Lee, Mr. Williams Donovan, Mr. Main, Ms. Crawford, Mr. Delroy Williams, Ms. Hamilton, Mr. Sivright, Mr. Azan, Mr. Brown, Dr. Brown-Burke, Mr. Buchanan, Mr. Bunting, Ms. Burchell, Dr. Campbell, Mr. Cousins, Mr. Crawford, Ms. Daly, Dr. Dawes, Mr. Golding, Mr. Gordon, Mr. Hales, Mr. Hines, Mr. Hilton, Mr. Jackson, Ms. Jess, Mrs. Malahoo Fort, Mrs. Miller Bennett, Mr. Morris, Mrs. Nita Garvey, Mr. Newell, Mr. Paulwell, Mr. Phillips, Ms. Perkis, Mr. Robertson, Mr. Robinson, Dr. Russell, Ms. Shaw, Mr. Smith, Mr. Dwayne Vaz, Mr. Warmington, and Mr. Charles Jr. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
House Leader.
Madam Speaker, I ask for the suspension of the agenda for us to go directly to public business.
Question is that we suspend the agenda and go to public business. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those against? The ayes have it. House Leader.
Madam Speaker, allow me to firstly join with you in welcoming the members, the various guests that we have here today. A number of them have turned out to hear the Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament for St. James East Central. And I join in welcoming persons from the Spanish Embassy, those from the U.S. Embassy, the Dominican Republic Embassy, and from Canada. And a special welcome to Mr. Godfrey Dyer, Honorable Godfrey Dyer, who has truly served us extremely well over these years. I do also see in the House former Member of Parliament Fitz Jackson, and Fenton Ferguson. Boy, I've been working. We've been working so we've been working so hard. Madam Speaker, you would also allow me to just say my commendations on behalf of the members of the House to the students who would have recently successfully completed their PEP exams and would have gotten their results yesterday. And you would allow me the latitude just to specially recognize and congratulate Jasonia Beadle, who is the head girl of Park Mountain Primary and Infant School in St. Elizabeth, and is the top primary student performer in the PEP. And why that is so important is because that school is one of the schools that was significantly damaged by Hurricane Melissa. And today, Councillor Williams from the area called me and beseeched me to give a special shout out to young Beadle on her wonderful performance. It appears there's a lot of congratulations in order, but I allow the members to do those privately. But we do see a new man has joined us today, and I will leave it at that. We now turn to our first presentation in our sectorial debates, and we will hear from the World Tourism Minister, Member of Parliament for St. James East Central, the Honorable Ed Bartlett.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. And thank you, House Leader, for your kind
Minister,
indulgences.
I can barely hear you. However, your colleague on this side believes that you deserve far more of a rounding applause. So the Minister of Tourism and Member of Parliament for St. James East Central.
I'm not going to give you any envelopes. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I begin by acknowledging your distinguished leadership in this honorable House. And I also recognize the members of Parliament on both sides of the aisle and the dedicated parliamentary staff led by the Clerk of the House, whose professionalism, discipline, and quiet service support the effective functioning of this institution. Madam Speaker, this is my 41st engagement from this podium in this House. And I take it with the deepest of regard. And want to make a comment, Madam Speaker, if you will allow me, at the end of the presentation with regards to my own vision and direction as I see for this one wonderful institution that has become so important to us to secure democracy, and which we must guard very zealously and to give it the highest respect and regard that is possible. So, Madam Speaker, following Hurricane Melissa, one of the most powerful storms on record, Jamaica's response demonstrated the value of decisive prime ministerial leadership and strong whole-of-government coordination. Working through ODPEM, public and private partners moved quickly, transparently, and responsibly to mobilize support for the tourism workers, small businesses, and communities that sustain the sector. From that shared effort, this presentation, Madam Speaker, will move from recovery to transformation. The sector's rapid rebound, the Tourism 3.0 agenda, and the legislative and regulatory reforms required to deliver a sustained growth, competitiveness, and greater benefits for Jamaican entrepreneurs, workers, and communities. Before I do so, Madam Speaker, I recognize that as public servants, our duty is to uplift our people and strengthen our nation. And I'm a proud leader of a ministry central to that mission. I thank the Most Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, for the trust and confidence he has placed in me. His astute leadership has helped steer the sector through an unpredictable global landscape. I also thank all who have worked with the ministry and its public bodies to meet challenges and seize opportunities across tourism. Our industry and private sector stakeholders have helped to protect livelihoods and have advanced national growth. I extend my deep appreciation to my Minister of State, the Honorable Tova Hamilton, our Permanent Secretary, Jennifer Griffiths, whose administrative excellence continues to drive the ministry's operation. Madam Speaker, I acknowledge the hard-working team within the ministry and its public bodies, along with chairpersons, board members, and executive directors. I also thank the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, its president, Christopher Jarrett, and his executive team for their cooperation during one of the most difficult periods in the history of the industry. To my constituents, the second love of my life, and the first love is intermingled with them today in the gallery. But I'll talk about my first love at another moment. That constituency, Madam Speaker, that has given me 6 consecutive terms as their representative, and has enabled this year for us to celebrate the 30th anniversary of our education program in that constituency that has provided scholarships for thousands of children in every institution in Jamaica today. There is a student from East Central St. James. Universities, medical department, history, science, and all the areas of discipline. And I'm proud of the work that the team has done. And particularly, Madam Speaker, you will allow me to commend my counselors who are here today and my staff at the constituency office led by Mrs. Simone Matheson Powell. And I particularly want to highlight Simone because she has been the tower of strength in that constituency. And when I travel all around, I can get full report from Simone for the great work that is being done in the constituency. My CPOs that have worked so hard to protect the very steps that I take, and my Driver, you know, Madam Speaker, I have to mention my driver because we call him Air Derval. And he gets us from Kingston to Montego Bay, I won't tell you in what time, but in good time and safely, so that we can conduct the business of the state and our constituency. And I wanted to particularly single him out because this is the 10th year that he has been the driver on record for mine. Madam Speaker, now on a personal note, and I know you will allow me this. I'm grateful for the support of my family, especially my dear bride. And I say bride, Madam Speaker, not wife or spouse, because bride represents that moment when it all began. And it has been 53 years of that wonderful relationship. Carmen really has been a source of great inspiration and encouragement to me over the years. And I'm thankful for her unwavering support and constant presence. Most importantly, Madam Speaker, I thank God for the health and strength to serve. I remain committed to serving our people, strengthening our tourism offering, and advancing a sector that delivers lasting benefit. Madam Speaker, before I turn to the state and direction of the Jamaica's tourism sector, permit me to pause and honor a man whose life reflects the very theme of today's presentation, trust and confidence. I speak of Dr. the Honorable Godfrey Dyer, OJ, CD, JP, LL. Mr. Dyer's story is not simply a record of titles held. It is a Jamaican story. Humble beginnings, big dreams, hard work, service, risk, recovery, and impact. Mr. Dyer was first made a director of the board of TF on its inauguration, and later served as chairman from 2007 to 2011, and again from 2016 until 2026, when he retired. Under his stewardship, TEF became a vehicle through which tourism gives back through infrastructure, community development, resort enhancement, worker training, cultural assets, innovation, and linkages. So today, Madam Speaker, we thank him for believing, and I'm saying this about Montego Bay, Dr. Chan, believing in Montego Bay, for proving that Jamaicans can own and lead in tourism, for helping build cultural tourism through music and enterprise, for shaping TEF into an instrument of impact, and for reminding us that service above self still matters. Honorable Godfrey Dyer's life teaches us that trust is earned over time, confidence is built through performance, and legacy is secured through service. That, Madam Speaker, is where today's theme begins. Madam Speaker, today I speak to the state and direction of Jamaica's tourism sector under a theme that is both timely and necessary: trust and confidence. It is timely because we are governing in an age of global uncertainty, where economic shocks, climate disruptions, geopolitical instability, technological change, misinformation, fragile supply chain, and rising public expectations are testing every institution and industry. It is necessary because no industry can survive on shifting sand. Without investor confidence and real benefits to our people, the foundation of tourism successes cannot endure. In tourism, these pressures are especially sharp. When uncertainty rises, travel is often one of the first decisions people reconsider. Visitors must feel confident enough to book, board, and spend. Investors must feel confident enough to commit. Jamaica must trust that tourism's growth is credible, inclusive, and beneficial. Confidence, Madam Speaker, speaks to performance. Jamaica's ability to compete, recover, grow, and deliver quality consistently. And trust speaks to legitimacy, strong systems, clear standards, modern governance, inclusion, and promises honored. Confidence brings people here, Madam Speaker, but trust brings them back. Trust attracts investment, strengthens belief, and secures the future. That, therefore, Madam Speaker, is the frame for the report that now follows. Madam Speaker, that frame matters. It matters because uncertainty is no longer the exception. It is the operating environment. Tourism is no longer simply a contest of scenery and sunshine. It is a contest of credibility measured by safety, reliability, recovery, and value. That's why Jamaica's strategy now goes beyond promotion. We are building a model grounded in resilience, destination assurance, stronger linkages, inclusive growth, human capital development, and modern governance. Madam Speaker, against this global background, Jamaica's tourism sector has again demonstrated its strength. The story of Jamaica's tourism performance in this reporting period is not a story of defeat, as some might think. It is a story of growth interrupted, confidence tested, recovery organized, impact delivered, and the future being secured. Jamaica's tourism performance must be understood through one defining truth. Hurricane Melissa interrupted our momentum, but it did not diminish our strength. Before Hurricane Melissa struck in October 28, 2025, Jamaica's tourism sector was already advancing with confidence. Visitor arrivals were tracking approximately 2% ahead, while tourism earnings were tracking 5% ahead. That was not entering, therefore, Madam Speaker, the final quarter when the hurricane came in decline. It was entering it with momentum. That momentum was not accidental. It was a result of deliberate policy, disciplined marketing, stronger airlift partnership, sustained investment in tourism product, and the enduring power of brand Jamaica. Then, of course, came Hurricane Melissa, as we know. However, Melissa did not break the Jamaican industry. It revealed the strength of the system we had been building. Through coordinated action by government, industry partners, workers, and communities, Jamaica's tourism industry officially opened on December 15, 2025. When I said we would open 6 weeks after the hurricane, on December 15th, everybody thought I needed to be checked. But that date, Madam Speaker, was more than a reopening. It was a signal to the world that Jamaica was ready, Jamaica was resilient, and Jamaica was rising again. Madam Speaker, I'm deeply grateful to our tourism partners, workers, and operators whose speed, dedication, and unity made the December 15 launch of the peak season possible, especially those who helped to steer the recovery. I'm especially moved by the selflessness of our tourism workers who restored hotels, shops, and attractions, even as their own homes suffered damage. Their sacrifice helped to sustain Jamaica's livelihood. Hotels across the sector opened their doors, welcoming displaced workers, media teams, and emergency personnel, and in so doing, Madam Speaker, helped families to begin the process of rebuilding. They provided rooms for staff and their families, accommodation for those supporting the national response, and I can remember Minister Vaz calling me and saying how the JPS people were coming from all over and didn't have anywhere, and the hotels that were half damaged found a way to accommodate these and other personnel who were coming to ensure the recovery took place. So they provided room for staff and their families, accommodation for those supporting the national response, relief supplies, construction material, grants, and interest-free loans. And I want to make that point because there are some who believe that the hotels did nothing for the workers. They provided interest-free loans for a number of workers. I went to some of these facilities, spoke with them, local brands. And I didn't want to call brand names today, and I won't. But when I say local brand, you know what I mean. International brands as well. And the other night, when we were at a certain anniversary, that point was made as to $1 million of grants that were provided to workers to assist them in their recovery from that particular hotel. So, Madam Speaker, our visitors too rallied. And I want to just pause to say thanks to some international agents whose names I can't call because there were so many. But there's one particular one, the World Central Kitchen. Madam Speaker, we housed them, and for my sins, I happen to know the people who were involved with them and managed to help them to get to Jamaica and gave them the convention center as their base. Cost us a little bit, and Maureen James and her team had to work very hard to bring it back. But they were able, Madam Speaker, to provide over 3 million meals for workers and people across the Western Jamaica, while at the same time provided jobs for 350 ground transportation operators who were carrying the food and supplies all across the region. Madam Speaker, that to me is confidence. That to me is trust. So, Madam Speaker, repeat guests launch grassroots funding campaigns even on their own. At Coca-Cola Palm in the Grill, one visitor shared how her 8th grade daughter, Gabby Nichols, raised $7,500. May sound small to you, but this is a little girl, an 8th grader, a visitor to Jamaica, and she used GoFundMe to raise $7,500 to help workers in that part of the Grill. Others cleared debris, help repair properties, and deliberately spend their local independent businesses and vendors. Madam Speaker, that response confirms something deeper than demand. Jamaica has built an emotional bond with the world. To our workers, therefore operators, partners, and visitors who became family, thank you for your hands, your hearts, and your unwavering love for Jamaica. Madam Speaker, let us now turn to the numbers. In 2025, Jamaica welcomed 3.7 million visitors, notwithstanding Hurricane Melissa, which tells you we are really 4-point-something million destination and a 4-point-something billion revenue destination. And I'll talk a little about that later on, Madam Speaker, as we get into the third phase of our development. So that including, Madam Speaker, 4.6 million stopover visitors and 1.1 million cruise passengers, whose estimated gross income, notwithstanding the 3.7, was still $4 billion. Even under extraordinary shocks, therefore, Jamaica delivered visitors, foreign exchange, and sustained economic activity across communities, enterprises, and households. And let us be clear, the decline was not caused by a loss of love for Jamaica, that 3.7 million I spoke about. It was not caused by a loss of demand for Jamaica. It was caused by an extraordinary interruption to a destination that was already growing. So through March, up to this March 26th, and I wanted to give you a little better detail, my director of tourism is looking straight at me, that up to May of this year, with only 70% of our inventory available, we have already cleared 1 million stopover arrival and 664,000 cruise passengers. And we're getting back the inventory. And we're getting it back, so we'll talk about that a little later. So the Jamaica Tourism Board and I moved quickly to recalibrate our strategy. We went back into the market with urgency and purpose, reigniting destination marketing and advertising across our major source markets, the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Europe, and Latin America. Working with major integrated booking partners, we acted to stimulate demand, protect market share, reassure the travel trade, and convert confidence in Jamaica into bookings. This is the new discipline of tourism recovery, Madam Speaker. Move early, protect confidence, defend market share, and position destination for renewed growth. The strength of brand Jamaica is also visible in the airlift data. In 2025, Jamaica's 2 major international airports handed 3.9 million total air seats, generating 3.1 million passenger arrivals, with an overall load factor of 80.6%. That piece of statistic is important, 80, meaning to say the demand of which I spoke was there. Because even though the airlines were not coming in the profusion that was before the hurricane, they were all coming full, which meant they were leaving passengers behind. So while capacity constraints remain real, the recovery is moving with purpose. As of mid-April, Jamaica's hotel capacity was projected to recover to be more than 80% by summer, meaning to say more hotels are now going to be open starting in July, in August, September, October, and by December, we'll be somewhere about 95%, and the first quarter of 27, we will be 100% restored in terms of our inventory. We saw that clearly, Madam Speaker, as major properties reopened. And I must tell you with pride that today, 80,000 hotel workers have returned to work. Rooms came back into inventory, but more important, Madam Speaker, jobs came back onto Jamaica household. The Tourism Recovery Task Force, which I appointed on the heels of the storm, led to the rebuilding process, while the Jamaica Cares Committee mobilized partners, coordinated relief, and supported the people who are the backbone of the tourism industry. And Madam Speaker, I want to just pause to recognize the leaders of those two task forces. They're not in the audience today, John Biles and Jessica Shannon, but they did your person's work to ensure that a level of mobilization from our partners overseas to assist our people in Jamaica was at a level unprecedented. They mobilized over 500 pallets of critical relief supplies, mobilized support approximating 15 million US dollars. Madam Speaker, that's about 2.3 billion Jamaican dollars. And they brought 6,000 care packages, and over 8,000 workers of the industry in those 5 western parishes benefited from this. Madam Speaker, the private sector and the Ministry of Tourism, through the government, combined to create a program called TARP, which was to assist tourism workers primarily who came through, and I want to make that point, came through the HR department of the hotels, and also who were hotel tourism entrepreneurs, like craft entrepreneurs, craft vendors, and like ground transportation people and so on. And that there was a whole system that was set up, properly structured, to enable, Madam Speaker, that the beneficiaries would come primarily from the sector. And I'll say no more about that, but to focus that the beneficiaries were to come from the sector. Anything else you hear from any source is not true. I say no more on that matter, Madam Speaker. So recovery also had to protect the productive links that allow tourism value to reach Jamaican hands. So through Alex, and Alex is our platform that we have established to connect our small players, particularly small farmers, those that have acreage of 2.5 and 3 acres. And we work with RADA in setting up Alex. And I must tell you that that linkage network, Madam Speaker, is the envy of many of our tourism partners internationally because they want to know how we manage to do it. And for those who are saying tourism not helping the liquor man, and we hear it, you know. But I'll have more to say about that later on. Madam Speaker, that platform connected 2,000 farmers to tourism demand with 2.57 million kilos of produce sold. The wider linkage network, Madam Speaker, that we established brought 995.1 million in agricultural revenue. More than 1 billion Jamaica through manufacturing. And these manufacturing now is not the big guys. It's not the Grace Kennedys and the Seprads and the Westincos and all them big guys who supply tourism that people talk about, linkages and retention, which I'll talk about later on. But these were little people who we helped through Exim Bank loan that we established $1 billion we put in Exim Bank on lend to little people in the industry, small hotel owners. And we put 250 million at Jamaica National Small Business for the ground transportation people so they can help to build back after this. And bigger get a bus, yes. And Madam Speaker, through that, we established a marketing framework also called Christmas in July. And last year alone, with all the problem, 168 million Jamaican dollars of business went through those small players. So, Madam Speaker, we are building also the workforce for the next stage of growth. Through the Jamaica Center for Tourism Innovation, more than 25,000 Jamaican workers have been certified under international benchmark programs. Annual certification output has grown from 40 graduates when I started the program in 2017 to more than 3,000 certified persons annually. In last year alone, 3,273 certificates were issued. I want you to listen to this. From 3,589 registration, listen, producing an overall pass rate among the workers of the tourism industry of 91%. You tell me where you get that level of pass in any of the institutional arrangements that we have in education in the Caribbean. In the Caribbean. So these certificates covered guest service, food safety, hospitality supervision, hospitality management, hotel operation, leadership, revenue management, culinary development, and other disciplines essential to service excellence and upward mobility. Madam Speaker, we established also the 2 academies, a gastronomy academy, and I'm proud to say we are the first Caribbean country to graduate executive sous chefs, and I have them in the audience. I have them in the audience, our executive sous chefs. Yes, Madam Speaker. First time in our history. And they are all working, and they are now part of the brigade that is going to replace. Yes. those who we would have to ask to come in order to occupy those higher positions in tourism. We also established an entertainment academy where we are training our performers, our singers and dancers, so that they can perform at the level that is appropriate. Because we have to understand that tourism brings cultures from all over the world. People with different tastes and different desires for different kind of artistic expressions. And therefore, it is not just to pick up somebody from the street and say, come sing. No, touch up. We are now making sure that we are preparing you, and DJs are graduating from the program, so we can give a fulsome program that will be satisfactory to the visitors of our country. Madam Speaker, this commitment to workers is also reflected in the continued performance of the Tourism Workers Pension Scheme. This scheme now has a fund value of 5.3 billion Jamaican dollars of savings now, savings. Because we put $1 billion there to seed the fund, you remember? Yeah. So that we could have some people called augmented pensioners, meaning to say, if you join at age 59 and you only have 5 years to contribute, you would get a pension the size of which you would have gotten if you had started at the first age 18. Nowhere else in the world that is happening. So far, over 10,000 workers have registered in the program. These numbers represent more than financial growth. They represent greater security, dignity, confidence of the people whose labor sustain Jamaica's tourism industry. What defines this year, Madam Speaker, is that tourism once again proved itself, not merely as an industry, but as a national platform for jobs, enterprise, foreign exchange, community confidence, cultural pride, and shared prosperity. So, let the message be clear. Jamaica is not simply recovering what was lost. Jamaica is building what comes next. And so we say growth was interrupted, confidence was tested, recovery was organized, impact was delivered, and Jamaica is rising stronger, smarter, more inclusive, and more determined than ever before. So, Madam Speaker, the journey ahead. Having reviewed the performance of this 25 to 26 financial year, we must now examine the journey that made our resilience possible. Performance tells us what happened. History tells us what the sector withstood and how it withstood shocks. Strategy tells us what must now change if tourism is to deliver greater value, deeper inclusion, stronger resilience, and broader prosperity for the Jamaican people. I framed that journey, Madam Speaker, in 3 phases. 1, Tourism 1.0, Tourism 2.0, and Tourism 3.0. Tourism 1.0 was the era of brand creation, global recognition, when Jamaica moved from natural beauty and cultural appeal to organized global destination status. Its modern institutional foundation was laid in 1955 with the formation of the Jamaica Tourist Board. The results were transformational. Under Abe Issa, visitors grew from approximately 86,000 in 1955 to approximately 227,000 by independence 1962. That growth changed national belief. It proved that tourism could become an engine of post-independence development. Under John Pringle, Jamaica then shaped the international face of a newly independent nation. Tourism 2.0 was the era of expansion, investment, production diversification, and institutional maturity. From 1996 to May 2026, Jamaica shifted from simply marketing the destination to strengthening the ecosystem behind it. TPDCO embedded standards, licensing, quality assurance, and workforce compliance. The Tourism Enhancement Fund gave the sector a dedicated financial engine for infrastructure, environmental management, product development, and community development. Madam Speaker, this era also taught us that growth without resilience is unsustainable. In 2018, Jamaica established the first in the world of a global tourism resilience and crisis management center, positioning Jamaica as a global thought leader in shock responses. That capacity, pivotal, vital, and proved to be very vital to us in COVID-19, when Jamaica's resilient corridors allowed us to reopen safely and protect lives, livelihood, and confidence. It also guided our disciplined recovery through Hurricane Melissa. Therefore, Madam Speaker, Tourism 2.0 is the bridge. Tourism 1.0 gave us visibility. Tourism 2.0 gave us capability. Now, Tourism 3.0 must deliver transformation. Our task is not merely to grow tourism in the old way. It is to move tourism to a higher level of national value, defined not only by arrivals and rooms, but by stronger local retention, deeper inclusion, better governance, resilient infrastructure, higher workforce capability, stronger community participation, and confidence that tourism is serving the national interest. Madam Speaker, as we step into this new frontier, our targets have to evolve too. You recall that our first target was 5 by 5 by 5. And that growth agenda, Madam Speaker, was behind the engine of Tourism 2.0. It did exactly what we asked it to do, driving up arrivals, boosting earnings, adding rooms, and creating jobs. But as we enter Tourism 3.0, we have to think bigger because our potential is bigger. Old metrics simply are not enough anymore. Moving forward, our new goal will be guided by the ministry's bolder, more visionary 10 by 10 by 10 growth program. That is to achieve 10 million visitors over the next 10 years and earn $10 billion for the people of Jamaica. This new framework is designed to multiply tourism success across 10 strategic pillars, ensuring deeper local integration, fairer opportunities, and real equity for everyday Jamaicans. So, Madam Speaker, now the context, roadmap, and governance for Jamaica's next tourism economy. 3.0 is not a slogan, Madam Speaker. It is a new development architecture for Jamaica. It begins with a powerful recognition. Tourism is no longer only about hotels, airport, cruise piers, beaches, attractions, and arrival. Tourism is an economy. It is a place where agriculture, manufacturing, logistics, culture, entertainment, health, wellness, technology, transport, finance, security, and community enterprises connect with the global visitor. It is where the farmer reaches the hotel kitchen, where the manufacturer enters the guest room, where the artist meets the global audience, where the worker, entrepreneur, investor, and community become part of one national value chain. The future we pursue, therefore, is not merely a larger tourism sector. It is a stronger Jamaican economy. Yes. That is the central proposition of Tourism 3.0. Tourism must not merely grow in Jamaica. Tourism must grow Jamaica. It must mean more Jamaican produce in hotel kitchens, more Jamaican-made goods in hotel rooms, more Jamaican culture in visitor experiences, more Jamaican entrepreneurs in value chain, more communities participating in the product, and more workers moving from, and listen to this, from employment to advancement, from service to certification, from vulnerability to security, and from worker to owner. And here, Madam Speaker, I want to pause to recognize two Jamaicans who started in the hotel business at the very bottom of the scale. And today, one, Shernet Crichton is the first Jamaican managing director for an international tourism entity. And here is she in our audience. The second is Clifton Reeder, who is now the first Jamaican to be a regional manager for an international hotel chain. Madam Speaker, I don't complain and quarrel when claims are made. I simply show the facts. So, Madam Speaker, the future will not regard destinations that drift. It will reward destinations that organize. That is why Tourism 3.0 must now move from aspiration to execution, from a clear roadmap and measurable impact. Our roadmap, therefore, Madam Speaker, rests on 10 priorities. And I want to go through those 10 priorities because it's at the heart of Tourism 3.0. One, purposeful growth and market resilience. Madam Speaker, purposeful growth must be anchored in access and connectivity. I am pleased to announce that East North Jamaica continues its post-Hurricane Melissa recovery. Air confidence in the destination remains strong. At this stage of recovery, overall seat capacity is approximately 20% below, and this is phenomenal. 80% is what it is of our 25 period. Because largely, Madam Speaker, 25% of our hotel rooms, as I indicated before, are now temporarily unavailable. Yet demand remains firm, with average airline load factor of approximately 85%, and some months reaching as high as 92%. In anticipation of more rooms returning to service, the Ministry of Tourism and the JTB have secured a new wave of air connectivity to support the next phase of recovery and growth. This includes expanded service by Virgin Atlantic from Heathrow to 7 flights weekly, Madam Speaker. British Airways from Gatwick to 4 flights weekly, and Copa Airlines from Panama to 14 flights weekly. It is also including new services from Wingo out of Medellin, Breezes out of Tampa, Porter out of Toronto, Ottawa, and Hamilton, Air Canada from Halifax, Ottawa, Edmonton, and Winnipeg, and enhanced regional connectivity from Guadeloupe. And the importance of that one, small as it may be, is it connects to France, Madam Speaker, to Paris for the first time. So this is a signal of confidence. It tells us that our airline partners believe in Jamaica, that consumer demand was held, and that recovery is being organized with purpose. The second pillar, Madam Speaker, is cruise access and visitor conversion. And Madam Speaker, here I want to point out that my Minister of State is being made fully responsible for cruise development and expansion in Jamaica. And for those who think that that situation is not on track, because I heard rumblings to that effect when I was trying to get more flights to come to Jamaica out of Spain. You understand me? That approximately 1.5 million cruise passengers are expected to come this year, even with Melissa. And that is a powerful platform for growth. My Minister of State has had several encounters already with the leadership of the cruise lines all over the U.S. And she's come back with reports that cruise expansion and development is secure. And we are currently in some discussions that I'm not ready yet to tell us all about. But when it happens, cruise is going to account for nearly half of that 10 million visitors that I spoke about for the next 10 years. I say no more on that. The third pillar is destination upgrading and climate resilience infrastructure. Madam Speaker, Tourism 3.0 requires destinations that are visibly better, safer, cleaner, safer, and more resilient. NARA gives Jamaica the national mechanism to coordinate that work. Reduce fragmentation, accelerate delivery, and ensure that reconstruction begins and upgrading is happening. Madam Speaker, we saw the Prime Minister put a map which shows the type of development that is likely across Jamaica. All of those developments will inure to tourism product development in Jamaica. And at another time, we will enumerate them because I have a program to work with the investment side of it. And in September and December, I'll be going off to meet with some of those people and to establish the bridge, the investment bridge for the tourism development that NARA will drive. So, Madam Speaker, this is not recovery, Madam Speaker, only. It is product development. Every resilient road, upgraded beach facility, well-lit town center, stronger drainage system, and digitally connected space improves the tourism experience. It gives visitors confidence, workers reliability, investors assurance, and community visible benefits. Under Tourism 3.0, NARA must help convert reconstruction in a stronger tourism product that is more competitive, more inclusive, and better prepared for climate shocks. It is the practical bridge, Madam Speaker, between national rebuilding and destination transformation for Jamaica, our people, and visitors alike. The fourth pillar, Madam Speaker, is local first and economic retention. And here I want again to tell you that my Minister of State has already started the work in preparing local first. She has been meeting with stakeholders, having consultation, and she has written a voluminous piece already for me on the principles of local first. For too long, Madam Speaker, for too long, much tourism value. To speak about the member from North Central St. Andrew would take me a full presentation. For too long, too much tourism values have leaked out of small island economies. I want us to pause and listen to this one. Team, this is very important because this is at the heart of the contention about tourism, the issue of retention. And I want us to pay a little attention to this, if you will. So for too long, too much tourism value has leaked out of small island economies before transforming the lives of local people. Tourism 3.0 must change that by moving Jamaica from being only a place where tourism is consumed to a country where more of tourism is produced, supplied, packaged, distributed, and owned by Jamaicans. So the action is to implement local first as a practical economic program, not as a slogan, but as a new operating discipline for tourism growth. Local first means stronger local sourcing, supplier development, procurement reform, logistics, financing, quality assurance, standards, readiness for everything, market access, and measurable domestic value retention. Madam Speaker, just for those who have another view, in 2016 when we began, 10 years ago, the retention of the dollar was 20 cents. 20 cents. Today, it is 40.8 cents in the dollar. And when you do the math against 4.7 billion US dollars in earning, that is 1.7 billion US dollars that circulates in the economy retained from the tourism activity. And you will hear what the new figure is going to be for retention under 10 by 10 by 10. So, Madam Speaker, I'm pleased to announce that Cabinet has approved local first concept notes already, and we will now move forward to the development of the policy. But policy alone will not be enough. We must now build the systems that allow local businesses to compete, supply, and deliver at scale. And there we move to the fifth pillar. And that one, tourism, is, Madam Speaker, the Tourism Logistics Supply Center. I'm going to say it again, lest there be any confusion in my voice. The Tourism Logistics Supply Center. And I see the member from Western St. Andrew understanding what we're talking about here. So this is why the Tourism Logistics Supply Center is important. It must be seen, Madam Speaker, more than a warehouse. This is why we intend to establish the Jamaica Supply Logistics as the operating system for the supply side of the tourism economy, facilitating industrial expansion and creating economies of scale and scope. The Tourism Supply Logistics Center will be the fifth industry-specific special economic zone under the SEZ Act of 2016. So the government has already established the SEZ and the logistics center. And tourism intends to be the first included in that facility there. Today, Madam Speaker, I am also pleased to announce that the Ministry of Tourism will work with the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Minister and I had the discussion. The Minister of Agriculture, Planning and Mining to realize this project, because that is a little more than safeguarding the future of the industry. It is also expanding the scale, scope of activities within tourism and providing job opportunities on a wider scale. This is how, Madam Speaker, we are going to move the small businesses from the margins of tourism value chain into the center of tourism opportunity. The Tourism Supply Logistics Center will support coordination, warehousing, cold chain capacity, inventory planning, and I can go on to all of the other areas that it will cover. It will serve Jamaica's tourism economy, strengthening the link between our hotels, attraction, farmers, manufacturers, distributors, and service providers. But the opportunity is also regional, and I want to make that point, because Jamaica is not just for Jamaica. Jamaica is for the Caribbean and the region. And so discussions are underway with CTO and IDB on how best to support a broader regional approach to tourism supply logistics, including the funding of a study to help to shape the Caribbean strategy. And I've been asked to chair that subcommittee, and already I have met with the board of directors of IDB, and they have given the undertaking that Jamaica will be the pilot project. That we will start here in Jamaica, and then we'll scale up and expand into the region. So, Madam Speaker, the measurable impact will be increased local procurement, reduce import leakage, stronger local sourcing rates, very important, meaning cheaper goods for the industry, more Jamaican suppliers registered and certified, more small and medium tourism enterprises contracted by tourism businesses. And this is where a number of them are outside. If you notice, they have brought their wares to show you their capabilities. And they will be upscaled to be able to supply at the higher end. So we will have higher farm to hotel sales, increased use of Jamaican-made goods, expanded agro-processing and manufacturing opportunities, stronger community income, and greater domestic retention of the tourism earning. That, Madam Speaker, is Tourism 3.0 in practice. Policy connected to systems, and systems connected to opportunities. The sixth pillar is the future readiness of our workers and human capital advancement. Madam Speaker, I have a very detailed one on this, and I recognize the time constraints that we're working through. But this House has heard more and more how passionate we are about human capital development in tourism. The level of certification that has happened, the type of training to enable mobility within the industry, and the number of also portability arrangements that will enable our workers to work anywhere in the world, pull out their stackable credential and show off and say, I am an executive sous chef from Jamaica. Madam Speaker, the future of tourism cannot be built only on rooms and routes and new attractions. It must be built on new skills. So Tourism 3.0 requires a workforce prepared for a world in which artificial intelligence, automation, digital booking systems, reputation platforms, data tools, and new service models are changing how tourism operates. This is why our action is to expand training, certification, professional development, digital literacy, AI readiness, leadership training, entrepreneurship pathways, labor market intelligence, and worker welfare programs. Within this broader workforce agenda, Madam Speaker, I am pleased to announce a new step in preparing our tourism workers for the future. We will be, and I want us to listen to this one, we will be integrating artificial intelligence into the delivery of foreign language training for tourism workers. This is a deliberate and practical intervention, Madam Speaker, as Jamaica protects its core markets while expanding into Latin America, Europe, the Caribbean, India, the Middle East, and other high-potential markets. Our workers must be equipped to communicate with greater confidence across languages, cultures, and visitor expectations. This approach also supports our broader commitment to provide stackable credentials for tourism workers, credentials that build progressively, certify real competencies, and unlock new employment and advancement opportunities across the sector. This objective is not technology for technology's sake. The objective is to better service, stronger confidence, higher employability, and greater upward mobility for the Jamaican workers. Madam Speaker, I could go on to tell you how it will affect the housekeeper and every layer of worker by not removing the smiles, but improving the efficiencies. And that's what we are all about. Madam Speaker, the seventh pillar is digital transformation, data and artificial intelligence. I touched on that a little earlier, but Madam Speaker, for your benefit, I just want to tell you that the Jamaica Tourist Board is building a more responsive marketing ecosystem. We are investing in advanced content systems and marketing tools that allow us to deliver more personalized communication, align our messaging with interests and behavior of individual travelers, and speak more directly to the audiences we are trying to convert. We have also introduced an AI-based multilingual digital concierge that uses real-time data to respond to visitor queries and support trip planning. Where needed, it can transition users seamlessly to live agents, creating a smoother path from interest to action. This is supported by a modern content framework that structures Jamaica's destination information so that it can be accessed and understood not only by people, but also by AI-driven platforms that are increasingly shaping how travelers search and plan. This matter, Madam Speaker, it does matter because visibility alone is no longer enough. Jamaica must discover and understand more and more, and we must become more bookable and to provide a more persuasive channel and to utilize technology in a way that influences traveler behavior. We're also placing greater emphasis on data agility. One of the key initiatives underway is a centralized real-time insight dashboard that will bring together audience behavior, tourism trends, Jamaica-specific performance data, and campaign performance into one integrated view. This will also help us to see what is happening as it happens, adjust our messaging quickly, optimize media spend, and capture emerging opportunities before they pass. Madam Speaker, we move to the 8th, and I beg you the time to just finish definitely 3.2. We have two more pillars on this. Destination assurance standards and visitor confidence. Madam Speaker, the modern traveler Yes, please, yes. The rules of the House is that you should ask it. Yeah. Madam Speaker, the modern traveler is making a trust calculation before every trip. Firstly, they ask, is the destination safe? Is it clean? Is it reliable? Is it prepared? Are the standards high? Can I move with confidence? If something goes wrong, will the system respond? Those are the key questions that Tourism 3.0 must answer for a more disciplined and structured destination. And that is why we are strengthening licensing, registration, standards, inspection, compliance, enforcement, health resilience, environmental responsibility, visitor safety, service quality, and crisis preparedness. Destination assurance policies, Madam Speaker, has already been tabled in the House, and we will move to the next stage thereafter. Madam Speaker, we've done studies on destination plans for St. Thomas and Negril, and we are moving to other areas as we have discussions with them all. Madam Speaker, tourism worker welfare is at the fundamental element of destination assurance. We cannot promise our visitors world-class, seamless, and authentic Jamaican experience if the very people who deliver that experience do not feel secure, valued, and empowered. Our strategy anchored in this promise are three critical pillars. First, the robust human capital development I spoke about. Secondly, the tourism workers' pension scheme. And Madam Speaker, beyond that is the tourism housing development program, which already 3,000 houses are under construction for workers. We are also going to require that every investor that comes to Jamaica building 500 rooms or more must have a provision for housing for the workers of the industry. The final step, Madam Speaker, is a discussion which we have commenced with some of the mortgage houses in the country to look at something we call patient mortgage. Patient mortgage, to allow for the tourism worker who, because of the structure of income, and perhaps not able to bring all their income into one package, will be able to have longer mortgage so that they could pay a lower rate and be able to access housing in Jamaica. But that's a study and discussion which is on. The final area for worker labor market ecosystem that we are working on is a HMO. And having looked at how our tourism pension scheme funding is accreting, we are looking down the road to see how we can look at now a health plan for the workers of the tourism industry. Madam Speaker, the ninth pillar is the development of public and community spaces. And this one is very critical to all of us, especially MPs in this House. Madam Speaker, the same principle applies to the spaces where tourism and community life meets. Destination upgrading is not about hotels, airports, and cruise piers only. It is about the public and community spaces where ordinary Jamaicans live, work, trade, gather, and welcome the world. A visitor experience through Jamaica is more than a room or a hotel. To that extent, Madam Speaker, we are going to strengthen the very popular Spruce Up on the Corner program, which already has brought, Madam Speaker, some 35 community projects last year and spent over $129 million for the benefit of community development.
Minister,
since we began the program, 417 community projects have been established and over $1.9 billion expended in the process. Madam Speaker,
Minister, you have no more time left, so could you wrap up at 10.0
Madam Speaker, I'm
and
wrapping
summarize?
up just now.
Do not read.
Thank you for your indulgence. I appreciate it very much. Madam Speaker, this I'm going to have to come back with statement by ministers to complete, because the future and the look of tourism is important for us to understand, because we are creating an economy here. We're not talking about an industry. We're talking about an economy. So the final pillar, Madam Speaker, thank you, Madam Speaker. The final pillar is a modern tourism governance and tourism authority, so that tourism 3.0 cannot be delivered through outdated systems. We cannot ask the sector to move faster if our institutions move slowly. We cannot ask the investor to trust the future if the rules are unclear. We cannot ask the communities to believe in tourism if the benefits are not visible. And so, Madam Speaker, we intend to establish to repeal the current Tourism Act, the one which we brought before. We have removed that, of course, a very important part of the new tourism, because today they represent 30% of the visitor arrivals in Jamaica. And I just quickly make the point before I close that, Madam Speaker, we will be talking more about the Tourism Authority and the governance structure which will define the way forward under Tourism 10.10. But, Madam Speaker, just allow me to wrap up now by saying that the future, Madam Speaker, the direction that we are choosing, a tourism economy that is trusted because it is well governed, resilience because it is prepared, inclusion because it is local, competitiveness because it's intelligent. Madam Speaker, this is the direction. Tourism 3.0 will move from policy language to institutional action. And we will ensure that the outcome from this great industry will inure to the people of Jamaica, and we will change the name and the reference from being an extractive industry to be an extracting industry for the people of Jamaica.
House Leader. House Leader.
Madam Speaker, we thank the Minister of Tourism for an exceptional presentation. Definitely chalk, as one member once said, chalk to cheese, you know? Action-oriented. We will now continue the sectorial, and we will hear from the Member of Parliament from Western Westmoreland, Mr. Ian Hills.
Madam.
Please make welcome, members, quiet, please make welcome to his feet the Member of Parliament for Westmoreland Western. Member of Parliament for Westmoreland Western, please go through the procedural matters until your presentation comes on screen, like speaking from a seat other than your own.
Madam Speaker, I seek permission to speak from a seat other than my own.
Permission granted.
You're not hearing?
We're not hearing you at all, actually.
Madam Speaker, I rise to make my contribution.
Member from Westmoreland Western, just take your seat for a little bit to allow those members in the gallery from the previous presentation to depart and allow your visitors to come in, as well as a change in presentation. Member from Westmoreland Western.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to make my contribution at the start of my 4th term in this honorable House. Yes, number 4. Now representing the people of the great constituency of Western Westmoreland, the parish of my birth. I wish to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I wish to thank my family for their unwavering support through every season of my life. And to my constituency executive, I express my thanks and gratitude. I also want to thank the people of Western Westmoreland for welcoming me back home. It is because of you why I can stand here today with a profound sense of honor and humility. On September 3rd, 2011, constituents cast your ballot for my name and for your party, the People's National Party. Most importantly, for a vision of what we can achieve, because of this vision, no long lines could stop your vote, and you delivered a clear message of who you wanted as your member of Parliament. So, Madam Speaker, the best way for me to demonstrate my most sincere gratitude is to come to this honorable House and work for the people of Western Westmoreland. My mandate is not for myself. It belongs to every person who knocked on a door, who stood in the rain at a polling station, who believed that their voice deserved to be heard in this chamber. I carry that responsibility with me to this seat and will honor it with every word I speak and with every vote I cast within these walls. Western Westmoreland, I am here because of you, and I am here for you. Madam Speaker, to my colleagues on this side and in the entire House, I just want to say thanks for the constant support and friendship. I want to say thanks. Madam Speaker, I must also hasten to thank the Leader of the Opposition, Mark Jefferson Golden, Marky G, for giving me the opportunity to serve the constituency of Western Westmoreland and giving me the responsibility to shadow the portfolio of water. So, Madam Speaker, I stand here today in what I still consider an honorable House. Yes, Madam Speaker, an honorable House. As I sit here week after week, I cannot help but think we sometimes do our brothers, Jamaican brothers and sisters, a great disservice by fueling a narrative that all we do is fight in Parliament. Some even call us the gangs of God House. Yet I know we can send a better message. So, Madam Speaker, we have to ensure that when we come to this House to meet and the bright lights turn on for the sitting of Parliament, we shine bright and positive also. Madam Speaker, it is my conviction and belief that the People's National Party has always done a better job in serving the poor and vulnerable of our country. In serving those who some may consider to be have-nots. So, Madam Speaker, I don't fool myself. We're on two separate tracks. We have different belief systems, but we all should be focused on the same destination, a better Jamaica for all Jamaicans. So, Madam Speaker, my approach is simple. I came here to work. The people of Western Westmoreland expect me to work, so we must work together. We can agree to disagree once it does not stop the work of the people. No political party affiliation should be punished, should anyone be punished on this side in getting the resources for the people of our constituency. And I will always hold the government accountable to do the work of the people. So, Madam Speaker, this is still the only place I can come to beg for roof for the roofless after Hurricane Melissa. Even when I am told no after no, to be told by this side, to be told by your side, the elected government for all Jamaicans, that because my side is not in power, there is no meaningful help for roads, no help for water supply, no help for the garbage correction in Western Westmoreland. But yes, I still come. Madam Speaker, I live by the good book, the Bible, and as it says in Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up. So to my colleagues on this side, I say let's not become weary. Let's continue to do good. The time must come. We must be persistent for the people even when we are told no. Let's send a message to the country that nothing will stop us from doing their business, the business of the people. To all government ministers and members of cabinet, I say let us have civil discussion as we do in social gatherings, because the people of Jamaica are depending on us. This has never been more urgent than it is now. 8 months after Hurricane Melissa, when Jamaicans in hard-hit parishes continue to suffer. 8 months or 230 days later. 230 nights under tarpaulin. 230 days of no or little employment. 230 days of still no light and no water. And for still too many, 230 days of unimaginable suffering. Better must be done. Madam Speaker, I turn to the immediate matter at hand, the water portfolio. Let me say from the onset, I am not here only to criticize today. Water is too important to the people of Jamaica and to our future to not offer solution. But first, we must get a realistic picture of what the water situation in our country is today. Even though water is life, in 2026, 24% of Jamaican households are still not connected to a potable water supply. In a sectorial presentation on April 28 this year, Minister Samuda said Jamaica stood as one of 14 countries that launched a national water compact with an ambition of water security for 1 billion people by 2030. Madam Speaker, it is one thing for sure. This government is full of acronyms, branding, and big words. 2030 is only 3.5 years away. Lots of work needs to be done, so let us examine the case together. In Minister Samuda's presentation, he included a table to demonstrate the plan to access by constituency. The challenge, Madam Speaker, is he listed 34 projects across the country at a cost of $4.2 billion. But $3.6 billion, or 85% of this money, was being spent in constituency with a Jamaica Labour Party member of Parliament. So my question, Madam Speaker, is simply, is the only constituency with JLP supporters need expanded access to water? Minister, I put it to you, Jamaicans who voted for PNP members of Parliament also need access to water. Madam Speaker, it is for this reason that I recommend that there be a transparent system for identifying the projects for expansion of access, and that these projects be published with a project update every quarter. Without this, we will be unable to know whether meaningful progress is being made. In addition, I believe that the country needs a master plan outlining how water access will be expanded. Jamaica deserves to know where water deserts now exist, where only community standpipes now exist, where water supply is at low level, and how you plan on fixing it. It is only with such a deliberate and strategic plan that we can measure true improvement in access. This is how the minister and appointed boards should be setting policy direction for the NWC. Every day, the hard-working employee of the NWC and other entities get up and go to work. Any failure in the system is not their failure. It is the failure of policy direction. Until policy and direction is given, the life-changing impact of water will not reach many Jamaicans. Madam Speaker, the truth is Jamaica's existing water supply system operates in silos and are inefficient. So in looking at improved access, I must also speak to linkages, supply, and demand. Jamaica has over 1,000 water treatment and water pumping facilities and 11,000 kilometers of pipe. It supplies an estimated 190 million gallons of water daily to its customers. Yet most of the systems are not linked. What we have are independent systems with almost zero focus on strategically having supplies in areas that are faced with constant drought or no supplies. We must be futuristic in any approach being taken as we try to play catch-up. This can be supported by looking at the transfer of water via linked transmission lines. Guided by supply charting and demand planning, there should be a comprehensive assessment and implementation of a large-scale project of linking transmission line, so that once and for all, across Jamaica, we will have real opportunity to get potable water for in existing lines. Madam Speaker, we know that linkage is based on supply and demand work. Just look at what is being done to move water from Martha Brain Trelawney to the Great River in Hanover, supplying Trelawney, St. James, and Hanover, where for the first time thousands of Jamaicans will now have access to potable water. In short, this is an important policy shift, as without linkages we will continue to truck water across Jamaica for a very long time, with this cycle repeating itself year after year. But Madam Speaker, while the goal of expanding access is noteworthy, I would like to recommend to the Minister that he address the inconsistency delivery of water even for those who are already connected. Because, Madam Speaker, let's not fool ourselves by thinking that once you're connected to the supply, you will have water. No, go so. Those of us in rural Jamaica especially know all too well that when the Jamaica Public Service Company grid goes down, we are not only without electricity, but hundreds of critical water transmission lines goes down also. Madam Speaker, this is more evident when we experience Hurricane Melissa. For days, weeks, and months, Western Jamaica went without light and water. And Madam Speaker, just 18 days ago on June 5th, with the all-island blackout, our water transmission lines went down. Again, we must improve the energy efficiency of our water supply. Madam Speaker, I listened to the Water Minister's presentation, and not enough was said about advanced technology in areas of water treatment, ensuring that we pivot and strategically shift from a system that was solely designed to implemented with only one power generation source in mind. The Minister highlighted that the solar pumping system installation at 3 locations under rural water, the NWC Forest Hill Solar Project valued at $81.5 million. The Forest Hill Solar Project represents only 10% of the $885 million Jamaican dollars targeted for energy efficiency. NWC projects, and this will save the NWC 14.2 million Jamaican dollars in electrical costs yearly. While we are happy it is concluded, the country would be shocked to know it is the only project completed for energy efficiency. As a matter of fact, Madam Speaker, of the 13 projects the Minister identified, this is the only one completed. And 9 of the projects have not even yet started. So, Madam Speaker, my advice is let's not come back here talking about energy efficiency. Action is needed now. We see how fragile our system is in times of crisis and disaster. Madam Speaker, we have to ensure that 10 years from now, the JPS will not be the primary source providing energy, but will be a secondary option operating more like a backup. Madam Speaker, to drive my point home, I want to remind the country that the NWC pays an estimated $1 billion Jamaican dollars monthly for electricity to pump water. If the NWC JPS bill is cut by 50% by technology over the next 10 years, the country and the people of this country will save up to 60 billion Jamaican dollars. Can you imagine how many more people in rural constituencies could get water with those savings? Further, Madam Speaker, the recently published Auditor General report revealed that the NWC owes $33 billion with a B to people and about $5 billion in outstanding collection. That no make no sense. The NWC is challenged with liquidity to pay its bills, which the JPS bill would be one such bill. The Auditor General report said in 2016-2017, for every dollar owed in the short term, the NWC had only 80 cents. But in 2023-2024, for every dollar owed in the short term, the NWC only had 50 cents. They have less cash going in the wrong direction. Where is the policy of the board and government? This cannot be how you run a business. Madam Speaker, energy efficiency solutions are now critical and urgent. Madam Speaker, the minister spoke to mobilize an investment in the water sector. And this leads me to raise two issues. The first is the current ad hoc approach to investment in water. Madam Speaker, the Western Resilience Project is being undertaken at a cost of $425 million US, phase one costing 176 million United States dollars. It will include a replacement of the transmission main between Montego Bay, the Great River Water Treatment, and the Queen of Spain New Martha Brae Treatment Plant in Trelawney, where non-revenue water loss is currently estimated at a high of 71%. Focus will also be placed on the corridor stretching from the Great River Water Treatment Plant westward through Lucy to the Negril Beach Strip, where losses run at a high of 68% of non-revenue water. Madam Speaker, this is all well and good if we had told the people of Western Jamaica the truth. The truth is the entire corridor infrastructure, road and water, is being upgraded for further tourism expansion. But was it necessary? And was it the most cost-effective solution to be done like this? Madam Speaker, when the minister met with stakeholders in Negril in 2024, the first question I asked myself was, do we, the people of Westmoreland, have the water for the expansion of the system for both residential and tourism consumption for the next 50 years? And the answer was yes. The Roaring River can give you an extra 15 million gallons of water daily. No need to go to Trelawney. The Cabarita River can give you a high of up to 20 million gallons daily. No need to go to Trelawney. Bringing the total available water a total of 35 million gallons every single day. So why then should we spend nearly $500 million United States dollars to give the people of Westmoreland water from Trelawney when the water is already in Westmoreland? Madam Speaker, I can only conclude that it is felt that if you give the people of Western Jamaica water before the tourists, for some strange reason, none will be left for the tourism sector. So in the end, someone made the decision to do the opposite. The project is now designed, will never fulfill demand downstream, and it's an ad hoc and wasteful allocation of capital. The 500 million United States dollars could have been used to upgrade the parishes of St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, St. Catherine, Clarendon, Manchester, and St. Elizabeth. I am therefore calling on the government to do a proper analysis of all the available water supply, current demand for each parish, and the estimates of what the demand will be over the next 50 years. This analysis should then be used to guide the policy direction of the National Water Commission Board and government to determine capacity building for projects such as this one. Until then, we will forever be playing catch-up. That is neither building for resilience nor building wisely. Madam Speaker, the second issue with the level of investment being targeted, it is that this government has a chronic inability to spend the targeted capital allocation. Chronic. Again, from the Auditor General's report, the NWC total capital budget was unspent for all but 1 year over a 5-year period. In 2019-2020, 7.2 billion was budgeted and 8.9 billion used. So they overspent that year. But in 2021 and 2020-2021, 12 billion budget, 5.5 billion used, underspent again. 2021 to 2022,